isn't tracking right, something is not working properly.
Generational talent, your star player, the cash cow.
I want to look like more information is coming out to how Caitlin Clark re-aggravated that.
One knee, one silence, one superstar in pain. That's all it took for the entire WNBA fan base to flip. Caitlin Clark, the face of the league, had finally gotten her groove back, lighting up the scoreboard, moving like a storm, leading her team to what looked like a third straight win. And then, like someone hit a switch, it all stopped. She went down, clutching her leg, as millions watched in disbelief. But what followed was worse than the hit. There was no statement, no foul, no whistle, no defense. And when fans saw the clip, Jacy Sheldon's knee clearly making contact, they didn't just question the referees. They questioned the entire league. Because when your biggest star gets hurt on live television and the league shrugs it off, that's not just poor officiating. That's a system collapsing in plain sight.
Watching the Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun game, and I swear every time these two teams go up against one another, something happens, and it's honestly never good.
The game itself had been fierce, no doubt. Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun, these two squads don't just play ball. They clash like rivals with years of history. Caitlin Clark was in her element that night, playing 28 powerful minutes and putting up 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. Her passing was crisp, her vision electric. Then came the moment. As she dribbled into the half-court set, planted her foot, and dished a slick backdoor pass to Kelsey Mitchell, nothing seemed out of the ordinary until she ran back in transition and suddenly stumbled, grabbing her lower body in visible pain. The replay was brutal. From 2 angles, clear as day, Jacy Sheldon's leg jutted forward at an unnatural angle, her knee elevated directly into Caitlin's groin area. Clark collapsed instantly. It wasn't a flop. It wasn't soft contact. It was a full-body reaction to a hit that no one could ignore. And the referee? He watched the whole thing unfold, standing just feet away, and did absolutely nothing.
So as you guys can see here, she is dribbling down, she plants her foot, she passes the ball to Kelsey Mitchell on the back door, and then when she is running back on the other end of the court, it seems like she's grabbing her.
This wasn't an isolated moment, and fans knew it. This incident wasn't born from the heat of competition, it was part of a larger, nastier pattern. Caitlin Clark and Jacy Sheldon have history. They faced off in college more than once, and those matchups were far from friendly. Foul trouble, elbows to the ribs, and even a past eye poke from Sheldon had already raised eyebrows. Earlier this season, a moment between the two went viral when Sheldon appeared to jab Clark in the eye during a screen. And now, we're supposed to believe this latest contact, a sharp knee to the groin, was just aggressive play? It doesn't line up. Fans are connecting the dots. This wasn't spontaneous. This was something that had been simmering for years and finally exploded when no one expected it. A rivalry gone too far. And worse? Still, no comment from the league.
And I'm here to tell you, it is not a good moment in the fan base. Fans are quiet on the line. A lot of people are starting to look like they're reselling their All-Star tickets.
When that video clip hit social media, it took off like wildfire. Over 12 million views in just a day. But this wasn't about going viral for entertainment. This was anger, real outrage. Fans started demanding answers, and when they didn't get them, they took matters into their own hands. Dozens of people began reselling or even giving away their WNBA All-Star Game tickets. That's not apathy, that's protest. A silent boycott erupting from broken trust. Fans weren't just upset Caitlin got hurt, they were furious that no one even pretended to care. For weeks, they had watched her take elbows, hits, and questionable contact with no whistle. But this crossed a line. They felt betrayed. And for a league trying to grow, trying to reach new audiences, that betrayal cut deep. You'd expect the league to say something, anything after a moment like that, but nothing came. Not from the referees, not from Jacy Sheldon, not from the team, and certainly not from Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. While fans were organizing petitions and players were speaking out on social media, the WNBA stayed quiet. That silence, it became its own statement. Fans weren't just frustrated with Sheldon anymore, they were looking higher. When your commissioner refuses to acknowledge your most marketable player being visibly injured, the question stops being about one foul. It becomes a matter of leadership. Where's the accountability? Where is the protection for the athlete driving your ratings and sales? The league's unwillingness to address the situation only made fans believe that something bigger, something more calculated, might be going on behind the scenes. Behind closed doors, league insiders began whispering, A suspension for Jacy Sheldon might actually be on the table. Not because of what happened on the court, but because of what happened after. Sponsors were raising concerns. Media outlets were circling the story. Commentators were calling out the lack of action. The tipping point wasn't just the injury, it was the public outcry. And for a league desperate to keep its rising popularity intact, the pressure was mounting fast. If a suspension did happen, it would be the first real disciplinary move involving Clark-era drama. And that set a dangerous precedent, because if the only time someone gets punished is when fans threaten ticket sales, what does that say about the league's priorities? Soon, a deeper, darker theory emerged. And it wasn't just from angry fans. Commentators, sports talk hosts, and even WNBA insiders began suggesting that the league might be deliberately allowing Clark to take more hits, not out of hate, but out of fear. Fear that she's becoming too dominant, that the league doesn't want one rookie defining the narrative, overshadowing veterans, or becoming too powerful too fast. It sounds wild, but think about it. Every week she's taking contact, and every week the whistle stays silent. If you were trying to humble a rising star, how would you do it? You wouldn't bench her. You'd let the game handle her. That's the theory. And for many viewers, it's starting to feel way too real. As the news of Caitlin's potential injury spread, something shifted in the community. People weren't just sad. They were done. Done watching their favorite player get knocked around like she's disposable. Done waiting for statements that never come. Done with excuses. The resale platforms filled with all-star tickets like fans were trying to get rid of bad luck charms. This wasn't passive. It was direct, loud, strategic. A public message to the WNBA. Protect Caitlin Clark, or we'll stop protecting your bottom line. No protests in the streets, just clicks, cancellations, and digital fury, and sometimes that speaks louder than anything else. At the center of the storm was Cathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, whose silence became symbolic. Not even a generic PR statement. No, we're investigating. No, we stand by our officials. Nothing. Just emptiness, while the league's biggest investment lay on the floor in pain. Meanwhile, fans were tagging NBA Commissioner Adam Silver in threads, asking him to step in. Petitions began circulating, not just to suspend Sheldon, but to remove Engelbert entirely. That's how serious it got. A fan base so disillusioned, they started looking to the NBA for intervention. And when sports fans climb the ladder like that, it usually means one thing: they've lost faith. For every silent whistle and every questionable non-call, the voices got louder. Is the WNBA sabotaging its own star? Nobody wants to believe that. Nobody wants to think a league would endanger its future for the sake of control, but the evidence keeps piling up. Game after game, Clark takes the hits. Game after game, the response is silence. Meanwhile, the All-Star Game, the league's crown jewel event, hangs in the balance. And it all circles back to that one question no league ever wants fans asking: if they won't protect their stars, who exactly is this league for? With Clark's injury status still unclear and no official word from the Fever, fans are bracing for the worst. Rumors of a severe groin tear are circulating rapidly. If true, Clark could be out for weeks, or even the rest of her rookie season. The fallout? Massive. Ratings will drop, merch sales will nosedive, and the WNBA's momentum, built almost entirely on her back, could dissolve overnight. What began as one missed foul is now a full-blown credibility crisis. You don't just lose a star player, you lose trust, momentum, and public belief in your product. And once that slips, rebuilding it takes more than just highlight reels and promo clips. It takes integrity, something fans fear the league has lost. Inside the Fever locker room, the mood has shifted. This wasn't just another hard game. When Clark limped off the court holding her leg, you could see it in her teammates' eyes. They knew something was different. They've seen her take hits all season. They've seen her bounce back, but this time it felt more permanent, more serious. Sources close to the team say Clark's injury is more than just a strain. The word tear is being whispered, and not just by fans. And that's terrifying, not just because of what it means for her career, but because of what it means for everyone around her. This team has been built on her energy. She's the floor general, the leader, the reason they believe they can win. And now, with her status unclear and the league saying nothing, the players are left wondering, are we next? If they didn't protect her, who's going to protect us? And that doubt, that spreads like wildfire in a locker room. This year's All-Star Game was supposed to be the WNBA's biggest moment in a decade, a celebration of talent and rising stars. And at the heart of that excitement was Caitlin Clark. Her presence alone boosted ticket sales by over 40%, spiked merch sales, and drew media attention from networks that barely mentioned the league before. But with her injury looming large, that hype has turned to dread. If she misses the event, everything changes. The buzz flattens, watch parties get canceled, casual fans tune out. It's not just disappointing, it's dangerous. Because the WNBA has never had this level of attention before, and instead of rising to the moment, it feels like the league is hoping the problem will disappear. But fans don't forget, and if Clark sits, the All-Star game may collapse before it ever begins. As more voices speak out about Caitlin Clark's injury, one message keeps getting louder. The WNBA may have fumbled the very player who was rebuilding its brand. Clark isn't just a rookie, she's a turning point. The reason jerseys sold out, games got primetime slots, and stadiums reached capacity. She brought a new generation of fans who weren't watching before. And yet, despite that, the league let her take hit after hit without lifting a finger. That silence, that inaction, it's not just a missed call, it's a betrayal of the player who put them back on the map. Fans aren't just angry, they're disillusioned. They feel like they were sold a dream, and then forced to watch it get torn apart without anyone stepping in to stop it. Then came the moment that left fans speechless. During the same game where Clark was hit, a fan wearing her jersey was ejected from TD Garden. Why? Reports mentioned possible contact with Sonia Rivers, but fan footage showed none. No pushing, no shouting, just clapping. Maybe too close, maybe too loud, but enough to warrant removal. Meanwhile, Jacy Sheldon stayed in the game after the groin incident. No review, no foul, no explanation. That contrast hit like a gut punch. A fan can get tossed for cheering, but a player can stay in after injuring the league's biggest star? It shattered the illusion of fairness. For many, this wasn't just a call, it was a confession. The league had its priorities backwards. Now we have to ask the question no one wants to ask. What happens if Caitlin Clark is done for the season? Not just sitting out the All-Star game, but shelved entirely for the rest of her rookie year. It's possible. A serious groin tear doesn't just heal overnight. It takes weeks, sometimes months. And if that's the case, then the WNBA is staring down its worst-case scenario. All the momentum, all the marketing, all the hype, gone. Clark's injury doesn't just impact the Fever. It impacts every single team, every broadcast schedule, every headline. Because love her or hate her, Clark is the reason many new fans showed up. And if she's gone, so is the surge. And here's the cruel irony. The same league that pushed her into every camera lens may have also stood by while she got run into the ground. That's not just a bad look, that's a credibility crisis. And if they don't address it now, they may lose everything they just worked so hard to build. Caitlin Clark's rookie season was supposed to be historic for all the right reasons. Record-breaking numbers, viral moments, packed arenas. But instead, it's starting to feel more like a survival test than a celebration. Every game has become a physical gauntlet. Every highlight comes with a bruise. And for all the media coverage she brings, she's been given the opposite of protection. The body language says it all. You can see the hesitation in her cuts, the wincing after drives, the tense looks between teammates after another no-call. This wasn't how the league was supposed to treat its most valuable new star. And the longer this continues, the more fans ask, has the WNBA turned its back on the very player who was supposed to usher in its next era? What's happening on the court is just one part of the story. Behind closed doors, the tension is reportedly even worse. Multiple insiders have hinted that some veteran players and coaches are quietly frustrated with how much attention Clark receives. There's a growing divide. One side sees her as the spark the league desperately needed, the other sees her as an unearned media darling. And that silent friction, it's bleeding into games. From missed screens to passive-aggressive fouls, there's a sense that certain players are sending messages the referees refuse to read. But when your league is trying to grow, trying to hold on to its momentum, the last thing you want is internal sabotage. And that's what this feels like. A house divided while the foundation starts to crack. At this point, the WNBA's silence can no longer be explained as hesitation. Fans are beginning to believe it's strategic, a choice, not a mistake. By avoiding statements, suspensions, or accountability, the league might be trying to protect its brand over its players. After all, admitting failure to protect Caitlin Clark would mean admitting the system itself is broken. But here's the problem. That silence is becoming its own headline. It's fueling conspiracy theories. It's alienating sponsors. And worst of all, it's breaking the connection between the league and its new fan base. The silence that once felt like poor PR now feels like willful blindness. And if that's the strategy, then the WNBA might be playing a very dangerous game, one where everyone loses. This story was never just about a game. It was about what happens when a league puts its biggest star at the center of everything, and then refuses to protect her when it counts most. The knee, the silence, the injury, the fan ejection, they're not isolated moments. They're warning signs. And the longer this goes unaddressed, the louder the backlash becomes. If Caitlin Clark sits out, the WNBA will feel it in every metric. But more importantly, it will feel it in trust. Because this isn't just about Caitlin Clark anymore. It's about leadership, about visibility, about respect. If you made it this far, you care about this league. Tap the like button, drop a comment with your take, and make sure to subscribe to BaskXpress, the only place where we don't just watch the games, we speak the truth behind them.